and that's what I did, and what I'm doing. You cannot accept that intruder, and that intruder is a reason functioning without your permission. You see? And that's very dangerous. The reason will always, even if we're awake, you're right in the heart of God. And it's very concrete, not an abstraction. It's just there. You're in the heart of God, of the infinite value. The reason will bark something. No, this is an illusion. Don't fall in the trap, chap. So very impressive. But I should know, not impressive. I'm not impressed. I'd kill the thing. See, I think I'm one of the only men on earth who are not impressed by truth, by facts. And even the fact I woke up at 16 doesn't impress me at all. As a fact, it's nothing. Just my mental fingers moving without me. And I think it's like a puppet. And I think the puppet is real. It's just a puppet. So very charming, horrible in a way. It will shock lots of people. But I'm searching the ultimate reality of myself. Or even worse, I'm searching the self. Well, what is that? Just a mental puppet. And I don't recognize it. I think it's real. But if I pay attention, real attention to it, I will sooner or later discover that it's just my own finger moving. So you see, I do that. Or maybe a horrible beast! I'm afraid. It's going to bite me. It's not me. It's out of. But of course, oh merde! It disappeared. It was just my fingers moving. It was a fiction. And all our fears come from that, you see. I'd have nothing against fear, because I think it's very human, and compassion. I feel compassion for somebody who fears. But the fear of death is not a little fear. But of course, what is death? Well, I take it for granted that it exists. That when I'm afraid of death, I'm absolutely sure that my mind is looking at this itself, at the real thing, and I never go very far whether it's a real thing or an unreal thing. Well, I never go verify that. But I should go very far. And if I go very far, I'll discover something absolutely incredible. That death, what is death? What am I looking at now, which is frightening me? It's just my finger, my mental figure, how do you call that? Moving. Mental fingers moving. That's just all. Which mean a thought, more or less dressed with a mental image. Nothing. And
when you see that, sometimes you see it clearly that it can be quite funny.
It's very funny. In fact, it's a gag.
Yes.
It's a gag. So, but what you find when you discover when the gag appears, I mean the bliss or the value is. You meet is so big and deep that you don't have the idea it's a gag. But in fact, it's a gag, incredible gag. We are mystifying ourselves from the birth to the death, 60, that it never ends. And we have doubts. But when we have doubts, I have that thing, so I have doubts, but even a little doubt, little bit of doubt. But what does that mean? It means that I don't consider that the intuitive knowledge is a good ground. And I have the idea, which is very dangerous, that the only ground is what could come out of the reason. So I'm always hearing the reason and not the intuition. Very dangerous. And while meditating, but it seems that lots of people meditate. I don't know what they do, what they mean by that. But let's say they meditate in the right way, trying to go backward their own mind and to the source, which is not a gesture which is very easy. Well, the only reason for it should succeed immediately. You see, the problem is very easy. It the research should succeed immediately. So you meditate, paf, here you are. You're born. You have it, or you are it. But it doesn't work like that. And because the chap who is meditating in the right way, trying to grasp in a concrete way, it's himself, his inner self. Well, he's full of doubts. He grounds on the saying of the reason more than he grounds on the saying of the intuition. So that's the explanation of the failure.
So the reason makes you sit down, meditate, have an intention and the whole process, whereas intuition is like just be yourself and.
Yes, but the intuition, the intuition culminates with pure consciousness. You see, I think it's the model of all intuitive knowledge. So it's immediate, direct. It puts out on an existential level in a fantastic evidence. So when you deal with an evidence, you don't. The evidence, you don't need more. The evidence is there. You don't have to look for a confirmation. You see, but it's crazy in a way because it's like a chap. Now people are getting crazier and crazier, and I find among very young people, very young chaps or young girls, a form of craziness I have never met before. Some people, some young chaps, they come to me and the first thing they ask me is not about pure consciousness. Am I in love or not? Shit. You should know. I mean, normally, in the old days, I mean, you knew whether you were in love or not. But now, I'm in love. Am I really in love? So I get, yeah, of course I'm a little astonished by that question. But what does that mean? It means, first there is an intuition which works very well, used to work very well in every mind, in every heart, that I'm in love, I know it, whether both it is there. I don't have to ask my father or guru whether I'm in love or not. But not nowadays. Now they come to me or to another. Well, I'm not a guru, but they go and see other gurus, lots of gurus generally. And they ask, am I in love? Shit, it's impossible. That the human stupidity can be as wide, enormous. The possibility of stupidity in a human mind is enormous. I never thought we could get to that point. Stupidity could go so far. It seems incredible, but it means that he doesn't never, even for simple thing on earth, he doesn't ground himself on intuition. The intuitive knowledge is there, and it is despised. and he asks he asks the reason for him to confirm or infirm the thing. This is crazy. An evidence should not be discussed, you see. When a chap says something, even when I think something, I put out a few sentences, well, that can be discussed. Discursive thinking can be discussed. But when an evidence is there, it should not be discussed.
It doesn't need to because it's evident. It doesn't need
No,
to
because if it means that if you discuss this evidence, you don't believe you don't believe in it. You believe in the reason, and it means you're out of order. You don't work. If you were a television, you wouldn't have any image. We could say also, you see, the word phenomenon is phenomenon in English. Well, we are convinced that inside ourselves, we know that on Earth there are some phenomena. I'm not talking about Earth. I'm not very interested, in fact, in Earth. It's secondarily I could be interested, but the main thing is the spirit. It's what happens at the root of the mind. Well, we're absolutely convinced that in our mind, things exist. They are things. Such a thing as things and events. On the events, pour les événements, c'est ça, events. And they seem real, absolutely real, like on Earth. You see, when I have a thought, when a thought comes to me which is unpleasant, it bites me exactly as a dog on Earth could bite me. So it's a thing, and I'm convinced it's a real thing, and that when I wake up, in the morning, but I wake up in the middle of the day, which is better. I could be convinced that it's real. It's a fact. Well, there are no facts in the mind, no things, no events, just thoughts of things, thoughts of events, nothing more. Every mind have the belief that himself or itself, I don't know what should I say, itself living this or that, thinking this or that, and while the mental context is of that quality or that another quality, this is real. This is a dream, or a novel, a movie, charming as a movie or as a novel, horrible as a reality. So you could say, I don't believe in myself. You see, I don't believe in truth, but the truth that I exist, I don't believe in it. I don't believe, I have absolutely no respect for the intellectual, it's another intellectual truth. No respect for any kind of philosophy, even if it has some genie in it. I'm not impressed. I know it's just trash.
You think about yourself, but you don't take it seriously?
Well, I love myself, but I don't take it as a real thing which could be opposed to what I'm really, like another reality. I destroy myself. But when we appear to ourselves as a reality which is opposing what we are really, facing it and opposing it, well, we are believing in the truth of the thing. That belief should be destroyed. I don't believe in myself, inside myself, thinking this, feeling that. Well, it's a game. Now, as a game, it's perfect. As a reality, it's trash. So once you understand that, directly, not intellectually. Well, things are very simple, you see.